In the heart of a bustling city, where strangers pass each other without a glance, an old man sits quietly on a snow-dusted bench. The evening is cold, the kind that bites through layers, but he doesn't seem to mind. Wrapped in a thin, tattered coat, his face is lined with nearly a century of life, of love, loss, and long-forgotten memories. He is 98 years old, nameless to the crowd, homeless to the world. But in his hands, cradled like a fragile treasure, is a dusty harmonica. With slow, trembling fingers, he lifts it to his lips and breathes life into it. The melody that emerges is raw, haunting, and beautiful. It echoes off the buildings, weaving through the footsteps and chatter, cutting through the noise like a whisper of truth. It's not perfect, but it's real. It carries pain, but also hope. Some passers-by don't even notice. But one little boy walking hand in hand with his mother stops. His eyes widen. He tugs at her coat, asking her to listen. She does. Slowly, others nearby begin to slow down too, their attention drawn by the soft, aching notes floating in the winter air. The song is more than music. It is a story, one not told with words, but felt deep in the soul. It's the sound of a man who has nothing left but the memories of love lost and the strength it took to keep going. It's the song that kept him alive when his family disappeared, when his home vanished, and when the world looked away. People begin to gather around him. Some take out their phones, others just listen with quiet reverence. No one speaks. They don't need to. The harmonica does all the talking. In this moment, the old man is not invisible. He's not a homeless stranger. He is a musician, a storyteller, a living piece of history. And for just a few precious minutes, time slows down. The cold fades. The world remembers how to feel. A man who had every reason to give up shares the one thing he never lost, his music. And through that, he touches hearts he'll never even know. The next day, the bench looks the same, but something has shifted. The snow has settled more deeply now, and the city's rhythm beats on as usual. But Ella, the young woman who heard the melody the day before, returns, this time not just as a passerby, but with purpose. In her hands is a steaming cup of coffee, and in her heart, a gentle curiosity that won't let her forget the tune that stopped her in her tracks. She approaches the old man with a soft smile. "I couldn't stop thinking about your song," she says as she hands him the coffee. His fingers are cold, but he accepts it with gratitude. There's a flicker of surprise in his eyes. So many people walked by yesterday, and yet someone came back. They sit in silence for a while, the sound of distant traffic and fluttering snow filling the space between them. Then Ella asks, quietly, "Where did that song come from?" The old man looks out at the street as if watching a memory pass by. He smiles, but it's the kind of smile wrapped in sorrow. "My wife used to hum it while cooking dinner," he says. She never knew the words. Just the hum, always gentle, always soft. His voice cracks slightly. "She passed from cancer almost 30 years ago." Ella listens, unmoving. He continues, slower now. "After she died, my children drifted away. At first, it was calls that stopped. Then visits. And one day, I realized I wasn't needed anymore." He looks down at his harmonica resting in his lap. "So I started playing what I remembered. That little tune, it kept me warm on nights when the cold tried to convince me to give up. It reminded me I was still alive. Still human." A tear escapes the corner of his eye, and without a word, Ella reaches out and holds his trembling hand. The harmonica sits quietly between them, a silent witness to the weight of everything that's been lost. And now, the tiniest beginning of something being found. In that quiet connection, no words are needed. For the first time in years, he's not just heard. He's seen. A few days later, inside a cozy cafe attached to a small recording studio, warm lights reflect off polished wood and steaming mugs. Musicians chat quietly, soft jazz hums in the background. Ella sits at a corner table, her phone in hand, fingers trembling slightly with excitement. She watches the video again, the old man playing his harmonica in the snow, eyes closed, pouring his soul into every breath. The video now has millions of views. Comments flood in from all over the world. This touched something deep in me. Reminds me of my grandpa who played for us during wartime. I cried listening to this. Who is he? The title reads, 98-year-old homeless man plays song that saved his soul. Ella returns to the same bench with the video loaded. Grandpa Joe, as she's come to call him, is there. Same spot, same quiet presence. She kneels beside him and holds out her phone. I need to show you something, she says, smiling. He watches silently, his weathered hands gripping the edges of the device as the video plays. When he sees himself on the screen, then the views, then the messages, his lips part, stunned. All these people, he murmurs. His eyes shimmer with tears. People, still care? Ella nods, her own eyes glistening. They care because of you. Just then, her phone buzzes. She reads the message and gasps. You're not going to believe this, she says. A producer, David Kessler, he saw the video. He's worked with legends. He says, he wants to meet the man whose harmonica speaks louder than words. He wants to bring you into a studio. Grandpa stares at her, stunned. His voice is barely a whisper. They want me? Ella smiles through her tears. Yes. The world is listening now, Grandpa Joe. For a man who spent decades in silence, forgotten on a cold bench, a single act of kindness has cracked open a door he thought was forever closed. And beyond it waits not just music, but redemption. Inside the glowing warmth of a professional recording studio, surrounded by polished wood panels and vintage equipment, the atmosphere feels reverent. Grandpa Joe sits upright in a leather chair, his back straighter than it's been in years. His worn harmonica rests gently in his hands. He wears a clean white shirt, a soft cardigan draped over his shoulders. For the first time in decades, he doesn't feel invisible. Beyond the glass, inside the control booth, a team of seasoned producers, young musicians, and even David Kessler himself watch in hushed silence. No one speaks. No one needs to. The air is charged with emotion, as if the room itself is holding its breath. The red light blinks on. Grandpa lifts the harmonica to his lips. The first notes flow out slowly. Rich, weathered, and soul-deep. It's the same tune he once played alone on a frozen bench, but here, surrounded by warmth and welcome, it breathes differently. It carries a lifetime, his wife's gentle humming, the ache of silence after loss, the bitter sting of abandonment, and the flicker of hope born from a stranger's kindness. As he plays, some behind the glass wipe away tears. One young violinist closes her eyes, letting the melody sink into her chest. Another producer presses his hand to his heart. The title of the track, written in soft pencil on the studio board, reads, "Alive Because of Love." When the final note fades, the silence is almost sacred. The engineer clicks off the mic, and the room behind the glass erupts, not in loud applause, but in a standing ovation of quiet awe and respect. Grandpa Joe sets down the harmonica, his hands shaking slightly. David Kessler walks in and says, "That wasn't just music. That was truth." Grandpa's voice is soft but steady. "This melody wasn't just mine," he says, looking around the room. "It belonged to anyone who's ever felt forgotten, and kept going anyway." In that moment, he's no longer a homeless man. He's not a relic of the past. He's a voice the world almost missed, but now, it's listening. And it's listening with its heart. The community hall glows with warm lights and the soft buzz of excitement. Rows of people, young, old, families, veterans, artists, fill every seat, their eyes fixed on the small stage at the front. A banner overhead reads, "Concert for Hope, one song, one shelter, one heart." The night hums with anticipation, not for a celebrity, but for a 98-year-old man whose music moved millions. Backstage, Grandpa Joe stands beside Ella, his hand wrapped around his harmonica like a sacred relic. He's dressed in a crisp jacket donated by a local boutique, shoes shined, eyes shining even brighter. He glances out at the crowd, humbled, overwhelmed. "Are they really all here, for me?" he asks softly. Ella smiles. "No, Grandpa Joe. They're here because of what you gave them." The moment he steps onto the stage, the audience rises to their feet in a thunderous standing ovation. Cheers echo, some shout his name. "Grandpa Joe! Grandpa Joe!" The spotlight catches his glistening eyes as he waves shyly, then raises the harmonica to his lips. He plays the same song, but now it carries more than sorrow. It carries community. It carries triumph. It carries love. When the final note lingers and fades, Ella steps forward, holding his hand. She addresses the crowd, her voice filled with emotion. "Thanks to your generosity, tonight we raised enough to build a shelter specifically for elderly individuals who have no place to go. People like Grandpa Joe, who deserve dignity, safety, and love." The room erupts again, this time not with applause, but with heart. A moment of shared humanity wraps everyone in the same embrace. Ella looks at him and says gently into the mic, "You've always had a home, Grandpa Joe, it just took the world a while to find it." As the cheers rise and the chants of his name fill the hall, Grandpa Joe wipes a tear and smiles, not the sad smile of yesterday, but the full, beaming smile of a man who knows he is no longer alone. Voiceover, as the camera pans over the crowd. "He lost everything, but gave the world a song that healed hearts. And in return, the world gave him back something greater, love, dignity, and a home in their hearts."